This is a quick little video, hopefully help you kind of get going with your class limits and your class boundaries. So in the directions for the assignment, a couple things that to kind of highlight out is that you would, right here it says create a histogram, frequency polygon, and ogive with 6 classes. So that's kind of like a key number there. So our first thing we need to do is kind of identify our largest and our smallest values. And so when we go through here, our minimum value in this list was 12. Our maximum value was 57. That means that our range would be 57 minus 12, which is equal to 45. We're going to do 6 classes. So we'll take that 45, we'll divide it by 6, and we get approximately, well, I think it actually equals 7.5. But then we'll go ahead and call that, because that rounds up to 8. So we'll take the next whole number of 8. So that means our class limits are going to be a distance of 8 apart. Now our class limits, in that case, that means that we start at 12. That means that our lower class limit for the second class would be 20, because it would be exactly the same apart. And then it'd be 28, and then it would be 36, and then it would be 44, and then it would be 52. So then on the other end of the spectrum, what we would do is we'd look at that and say, okay, well, how would that look going up? Well, if your lower class, or your lower class limit is 20, that means your upper class limit on this one would have to be 19. And then that would have to be 27. And then that would be 35. So they're actually 7 units apart in the limits themselves, as far as it's not the width, but the distance between the lower and the upper limit. And then let's keep on doing that. So then 7 onto that. Sorry about that, my pen's kind of acting funny. That'd be 43. Turn that around real quick, see if I can make it better. 43, and that would be 51, and then that would be 59. Okay, and then so now the question we have is like, well, how does that apply with boundaries? So our boundaries will actually have a class width of 8. So that means that our class boundaries in this one is we'll go from 11.5 to 19.5. So that actual class boundary there is going to be 8. This would be 19.5, because exactly that starting point, to 27.5. And you keep on doing that process again and again all the way through the class boundaries. So this would be 27.5, and I got to make it a little bit larger. I can't. Let's go 100%. There we go. 27.5, and then that would be 35.5, and then this would be 35.5, and then that would be 43.5, and that would be 43.5, and that would be 51.5, and then that would be 51.5, and that'd be 59.5. So that's the definition of like how you get your class limits and your class boundaries. Your class limits is not actually your class width. Your class width is from your lower limit to your next lower limit to your next lower limit, and so forth. So our class width was, in this case, 8 is what we decided upon. And then our class boundaries will have that class width of 8. All right, and then as far as like midpoints, that's just your calculation. You can look that up in section 2.1 inside of Hawkes Learning. If you go into the learning section, you can find that inside there, how to find the midpoint of stuff, how to find the frequency, and how to find the cumulative frequency. Hopefully this helps you overcome that, like that bump of getting from like, well, what are my, how do I make this my categories for my frequency distributions? And this is how we get that started. Thanks.